Howdy folks, Dr. Ed here with Total Body Healthcare, and I've got your Whiteboard Wednesday thought of the week. You know, if you watched last week's Whiteboard Wednesday lesson, we set out a game plan for parents to set your kiddos up for a lifelong journey of being healthy. In the process, though, it may have felt like I was beating you up because of the health challenges that you're facing today, currently, that they come from the choices that you made in your past. I didn't give you any advice on what to do about your current health issues. So, my passion is to help kiddos grow and develop as healthy as possible. The earlier we as parents can establish those healthy habits, the easier it is for them to keep those healthy habits later in life. You know, whether we're building a tall skyscraper or healthy habits in our kids, the foundation is really the key. So with that being said, once a building is built, it is still possible to remodel it, right? Yeah, so if you're feeling beat up from last week's lesson and some of the choices that you've made throughout your life, then this week's lesson is for you. As a matter of fact, this week's lesson is kind of for everybody, myself included. How many of you all have tried to establish some healthy habits or maybe change something about yourself and have given up when you didn't see results quickly enough? Everybody should be raising their hands because we've all done this, and it's frustrating. Success coaches, health coaches, financial consultants they all tell us that we need to set goals, and they're right. Goals are important. However, just setting goals isn't enough to drive you to achieve them. As an example, Major League Baseball, you know me, I'm a huge baseball fan. Major League Baseball has just kicked off their season. I don't think it's too big of a stretch of an imagination to say that all 30 teams in Major League Baseball has set the goal of winning the World Series this year. However, only one team will. What separates that winning team from all the others is what I want to talk about today, because it is the one thing that will help you achieve your goals as well. You see, it's not about the goals. We all have goals, and a lot of those goals are pretty similar. The winning happens in the process. The systems you put into place that help you attain your goals. And it's also the not giving up when you don't see progress. I'd like to say it's about the habits we put into place, but it's not even that. Your current situation, whether you're looking at your health or your checkbook or your relationships, is a result of the habits that you've had in the past. For example, you may not have the habit of regular exercise. That doesn't mean that you don't have a habit, though. You actually have the habit of not exercising. If you're not satisfied with the balance in your checkbook, it's not because you don't have the habit of saving, it's because you have the habit of spending money. So it's not a lack of habits that keep us from our goals. Having the wrong habits is what keeps us from success. The discipline to change and to keep the new habits is what allows us to remodel our building. Remodel. I'm not telling you anything you haven't already heard before. Everybody has heard this. This stuff we know it intellectually. Most of us have even tried to put it in place and put it into practice in the past. So here's where the rubber meets the road. Systems and routines. When you're not seeing progress, stick to the routine. Have a setback maybe because of a poor choice, get back to the system. It's the little things that add up to the big things, and most of us give up too soon. I want to give you a couple of examples today to maybe hopefully give you some encouragement. I want you to remember these visuals when you think you're not getting anywhere near your goals. The first visual is an ice cube. So picture this. You're sitting in a room with an ice cube on a tray in front of you. The current temperature in the room is 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Pretty chilly, I know. The ice cube is solid. No melting is taking place. The room temperature rises to 21 degrees. Still no change. Then up to 22, 23, 24 degrees, no change, right? Finally, the room temperature gets to 32, and what happens? The ice begins to melt. There was a lot of work to be done to get the room temperature up to 32 degrees, but you didn't notice a change in the ice cube until you reached that number. Now, the higher the temperature in the room, the faster the ice will melt. What would have happened if you would have left the room at 28 degrees? You wouldn't have seen the ice cube melt, exactly. And our goals are the same way. A lot of times we give up too soon. Here's another visual. This is kind of the one that really gets me. Most folks really think improvement, once you start working on stuff, improvement should be a nice linear, straight uphill climb. When things don't progress nice and smooth, we get frustrated and give up. What we fail to remember is that daily habits build on themselves. They don't work by themselves. They all work together. But this goes both ways too, by the way. Good habits build on good habits. Bad habits build on bad habits. The bad habits building on bad habits is the reason that we're stuck where we are today. Think back to high school and economics class. Wasn't my favorite class. I got through it, but here we go. We were all introduced to the concept of compounding interest, right? It's taught as a great way to make your money work for you. It's also how our habits work as well. If we could just focus on 1% improvement every day, those systems and routines begin to compound and build on each other. Mathematically, after 1 year of 1% improvement daily, you will be almost 38% better than when you were when you started. Just like the ice cube, we aren't going to see any results if the room temperature is still under 32 degrees. But once we reach that certain point, then our results really skyrocket. I can't tell you how many times I've given up in this region of the graph right here. Build, but I don't see results, so I give up right there. And then you miss that skyrocket. I hope these two visuals stick in your head and really help keep you focused on 1% improvement. So I mentioned systems and routines. Let me give you an example of a system that I have put into place that hopefully it'll at least get some juices flowing in your brain, maybe give you an idea on ways that you can put a system into place for yourself. One of my lifelong goals is to walk closer with God. I want to know and understand His Word more deeply and effectively and live out the standards that He has put into place. To do this, I know intellectually I must sacrifice myself and my will to His will daily. But in the busyness of life, it's pretty easy to lose sight of a goal like this. So every day at 7 a.m., I have a reminder set on my phone to think of that one thing. My phone beeps and a little reminder pops up on the screen to tell me, it reminds me to pray through the scriptures found in Romans 12, 1 and 2. If you're unfamiliar with those verses, I encourage you to look them up. They're a great verse to apply to your life. You know what? I might be in the shower at 7 a.m. or I might be eating breakfast. I mean, for that matter, I may not be anywhere near my phone. What happens, though, is that reminder stays on my screen, and I don't erase that reminder off my screen until I pray through those two verses. I have been using this system for about 2 years now, and I got to say, early on, I really didn't notice any change. But now, however, I do feel like I'm walking closer to God than I have ever been in my entire life. Having those systems in place to help you stay on track day in and day out is truly the way to help to achieve your goals. Sprinkle in a little discipline to stay on course when you aren't seeing that progress, and the sky's the limit. If you need some tips on what systems to put into place, shoot me an email or ask on your next visit. I'd be happy to help you. This kind of stuff, I get really excited talking about it. Anyways, I'm Dr. Ed with Total Body Health Care, and there's your Whiteboard Wednesday thought of the week.